A big announcement today in support of electric vehicles and also some questions about what this will actually mean for our region. So today, Vice President Kamala Harris toured an electric vehicle repair shop in Maryland and said that the recently passed bipartisan infrastructure bill has $7.5 billion to add more electric charging stations.
That will mean an additional 500,000 places across the country for people to charge those cars and trucks. Not having enough stations has been a burden for a lot of people who otherwise would like to own an electric vehicle.
It means installing a national network of EV chargers. When we ask people, what is the biggest barrier for them to buy an electric car? The answer is almost always figuring out where and how to charge it. When we install public chargers in rural, urban, and suburban neighborhoods, we make it easier for people to go electric. It's that simple.
And joining us live now to discuss the impact of this announcement is Brian Jakowski. He's an electric vehicle expert with AAA. Brian, we're very glad you're with us, and we're going to start by setting the scene on where we are right now in terms of the electric charging stations.
Yeah, we want to be able to show people a map that we'll pull up here just as soon as we can. Statewide, there are almost 3,000 stations available to the public. You can see them on this map here. But of those, fewer than 300 of them are in our 8 counties in western New York. And as we zoom in, the vast majority of those are in the city of Buffalo and the northern suburbs. By the way, we put this map on our website. We made it interactive so you can check out each of these charging sites. That's at WGRZ.com/electric. So Brian, let me ask you, with that kind of context here, since there aren't many places right now to charge an electric vehicle, how big is today's announcement moving forward?
Oh, this is huge. This is going to help anybody who has an electric vehicle or anybody who wants to get an electric vehicle be able to charge them a lot more conveniently. And as long as we have convenience of charging, I can see the electric vehicle sales going up in not only just Western New York, but across the country.
Brian, we showed how many charging stations are currently in western New York and across the state, and I imagine that that number has probably increased in recent years. But how do you think that we are doing as a region compared to other parts of the country?
Compared to other parts of the country, we are definitely behind what we see going on in the Southwest and California, some of the southern states like Florida.
And, you know, making these electric vehicles easier to find in order to find a place to charge them obviously is a barrier. Kate and I were talking about this. You know, if you're driving across the country and there's no place for you to charge your vehicle, you might be hesitant to do something like that. But what else do you think is at play here in terms of what else can be done to improve access to electric vehicles for people who are worried about maybe this new type of technology?
Well, just making the electric charging stations easier to find. The use of apps like the charging apps. Tesla has an app. There are a number of other different manufacturers out there that are planning to use apps to help their customers find charging stations. And now if we can have something public available, it doesn't matter what vehicle you're driving, you'll be able to find a place to charge, and that'll make things more convenient for everyone.
We were talking about this before, Brian, and I said, there's a lot that I really don't know about electric vehicles in general. Do you think that there needs to be maybe a greater education, or is it pretty much now you have to be interested enough to want to find out?
Well, currently it's for the people that have the vehicles and are interested, because the technology is so new that there's terminology that people don't understand. But hopefully with the increased sale of electric vehicles, there will be more people that understand what the different levels of charging are, how they charge a vehicle, what the limits are to them. And the more information you have, the easier it's going to be to use an electric vehicle.
And finally, Brian, we have a little less than a minute left. The other factor I think at play here obviously is cost. Electric vehicles tend to be more expensive than the old gas vehicles, although it depends on what kind you get. But we are really seeing the investment on the government side, whether it's at the state level or the federal level, in giving these kind of rebates and making it help make more financial sense for people. Do you see that kind of having a big impact going forward as well?
I do. Some of the other parts of this bill, offering financing for the retooling that manufacturers would need, different types of consumer financing, different types of consumer incentives. That'll help sales, which is going to help manufacturers, and hopefully in the end it brings the prices down.
The perfect person to talk about all of this with us tonight, Brian Jakowski, is an electric vehicle expert with AAA. Brian, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Monday Town Hall. Our text line number is 716-849-2220 if you have a question or a comment.